welcome to a new video, and also welcome to the absolute best season of the year. September is finally here and I couldn't be happier about this. I have my little tea here, even though it's still a little bit hot. Cozy doesn't wait. And yeah, I just wanted to film a fall themed video for you this month. And I've never done anything related to books, which I absolutely love, especially during fall. So here we go. So good. Okay, so in this video I'm just gonna share with you some fall recommendations and some of my absolute favorite books and series to read during this season. And I'm also gonna share my TBR for this, not this month, but this season, so September, October and November. So yeah, okay, let's just dive in, and I'm excited. Okay, let's start with the recommendations. I don't have all of the books in physical form. Some of them I read on my Kindle. I'm just gonna put somewhere here or here the cover for the book. And yeah, so my first recommendation is actually a book I read this summer, and it's my favorite read of this year so far, and it's The Only One Left by Riley Sager. And if you don't know this author, I really love his books. They are not all like perfect, but some of them I really love. And I think this one is my absolute favorite from him. Okay, so let me read you the synopsis first. The Hope family murders shocked the Maine coast one bloody night in 1999. While most people assume 17-year-old Lenora was responsible, the police were never able to prove it. And it's now 1983, and Kit arrives at a decaying Hope's End to care for Lenora after her previous nurse fled in the middle of the night. And you know what? I'm just gonna read this, which is pretty intriguing already. So yeah, it basically is a murder story, murder mystery, and it's just so atmospheric, and I love this book so much. You have no idea. I actually had to take like a 1-week break after reading it because I was so I kept thinking about it, and I don't know, I loved it so much. And I didn't think I could read like another thriller that was this good, so I just started reading like other very different stories. And yeah, I just love the atmosphere of the book. The characters were very good, and I think they evolved, like they grew in a way that was very interesting. So yeah, and I think it's the perfect book to transition from summer to fall. The story actually takes place in October, so it's also like very good to read in October. But since the setting is like in a big mansion on a cliff's edge, in like a seaside town, it was just like the perfect transition from summer to fall. And there were a lot of twists and turns, and even though sometimes it tends to be quite a lot and not very believable in a way, I still really loved them. Like I was so shocked and so like, wow, that's so cool. So anyway, I can definitely recommend this one. Okay, and the next one I have right here, it's called Small Spaces, and it's from Katherine Arden. She's actually the author of The Bear and the Nightingale, which I think is a book that is pretty well known. I read it and I didn't really like it, but I read it after this and it's very different. So if you didn't like this book, which, I don't know why I didn't like it because it was good, but anyway, I'm rambling again. But yeah, this one is very different. It's a middle grade book and it's very spooky but not like extra scary and dark. So anyway, let me read you the synopsis. At night they will come for the rest of you. It's with this ominous warning that 11-year-old Ollie and her two friends Coco and Brian set out on a chilling adventure in the woods, with nightfall fast descending and the ever-watchful eyes of scarecrows and their backs. I hate scarecrows. What had begun as an unremarkable school trip to a nearby farm soon becomes a frightening journey into the world behind the mist. I really love this synopsis. And I also really love the cover, which is oftentimes how I will choose my reads, especially during fall. But anyway, so this first book, it's a series and there are 4 books, and this one is specifically perfect for autumn. The other books are all very good and it's always a different setting and maybe always a different season. I know there's Dark Waters, which is the third one of the series, set during summer, and the last one was set like in a circus. I don't remember the season, but anyway, they're all very atmospheric. I always say that. But yeah, they're all very good and spooky, but not like terrifying. A little bit, but it's still a middle grade book. And yeah, the characters are so lovable, and I love how each book kind of focus on one of the 3 friends without like completely forgetting the other ones. I think you're gonna love it if you like spooky reads, but more middle grade and, you know, spooky but not like very frightening. Then I have another series that I really love. I think I already mentioned this one on Patreon at some point, but I also have them here. I have 2 missing, but the first one is Truly Devious. So this is like the Truly Devious series. Then there's The Vanishing, or is it? I don't remember. Okay, maybe it's The End on the Wall next, and then The Vanishing Stair. I'm very bad at doing this reading videos, I'm sorry. It's my first one. Anyway, the 4th one was A Box in the Woods, which was very good, and the last one released last year, I think, and it was 9 Layers, and the cover is like very fall-like. I love it. And it's definitely one of my favorite series of all time, for sure. It's set in Ellingham Academy in Vermont, so the setting is absolutely perfect. And I think the first one is set during fall, at the beginning of the school year, so September, and then it goes all the way through fall, maybe Christmas too. I don't remember. I've read it a while ago, but again, I'm all for the atmosphere and I love when I get attached to characters, and it was the case for this series. I just loved following the characters, and the first 3 books that I have here are all set at Ellingham Academy, and there's basically like an old mystery from 1936. And so Stevie, the main character, she loves true crime podcasts, which I love because I am a true crime fan and I love thrillers and mysteries, so I love that. And she's actually very into a case that happened at the school in 1936 that was unsolved, and so she absolutely wants to solve the case, and this is why she ended up at this academy. And so the 3 first books are focused on this particular story, I think. There might be 2, but it is set in the academy. And then The Box in the Woods, the 4th one, is actually set at a summer camp. And it's such a cool like summer read, summer like mystery. And the last one is set in a like old mansion in England, so just the vibes are great. So anyway, love these books, love this series. Okay, what's next? What do I have on my list? Oh yeah, the Shady Hollow series. I have a lot of series actually. This series follows Vera, a fox living in a super cozy and whimsical village filled with woodland creatures. And each book you follow her while she tries to solve different cases. It's a cozy mystery, and I don't want to say too much about it. You just have to dive in, and it just feels extra cozy, and it's perfect if you want to read something during fall that is not too spooky, too scary, but that still has these fall-like vibes to it. And yeah, as always, I love the characters. And I especially loved the first and second books of the series. Not so much the third one, but I'm still very excited for the last one that I think is gonna be released at the end of this year. And it's actually gonna be set during spring, so I might wait until next year to get my hands on it. But yeah, I just like reading series like that, because if I like the characters and if I like the original like setting, even though, you know, if there are like a lot of different books in the series, not all of them are gonna be great. Some of them might be less interesting, but if I like the characters, it's still always very nice to come back to them. And you know, maybe if I didn't like one, I'm gonna love the next one. So anyway, I then have another one that I read on Audible a few years ago, and I loved it. I would actually like to get my hands on the physical copy of the book, because I mean, look at the cover, it's beautiful. And yeah, I just really loved this book, and it's especially perfect if you want something very atmospheric, very fall vibes, small town magic, and if you're looking for like a romance that is not too cheesy but still that is still gonna melt your heart. I'm someone who's not very like into romance books in general, but this one was very good. And it was also so much more than just a romance. This book is filled with like magic and alchemy, and a small town that is very eerie and weird, strange. It's definitely a darker story than the other ones I mentioned. Yeah, I loved it. I have to admit I was not very into it at first. It was very slow, and I didn't love the characters in the beginning, but then the more I went and the more I actually fell in love with them. And I don't know, I feel like they evolve a lot throughout the story, and it was super interesting. It was very spooky and mysterious, and I think it's perfect to read during October, like closer to Halloween. You know, because of the magic alchemy elements to it. And okay, that's it for my 4 recommendations. I'm now gonna move on to my TBR for this season. I have some of them here. Okay, let me start with this one. So this is The Lake House by Sarah Beth Durst. I actually think I forgot to mention all of the authors from the previous books. It's gonna be in the description, don't worry. Let me read you the synopsis. So, one of the advantages of always imagining the worst case scenario was that it didn't take Claire long to process all the ramifications of their situation. And the worst part wasn't that there was a dead body here. The worst part was that someone out there was a killer. And I was imagining something very classic, and it wasn't at all what I expected. And there's actually a little bit more of what the story is at the beginning of the book here, but I'm gonna let you, like, if you want to just dive in, I think it's a good idea to not read the full, like, detailed synopsis before reading it, because I was kind of surprised. I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to spoil the surprise. It's a very, very good book. I'm like more than halfway through so far, and I just love it, and I don't want to finish it. Then I have one over there. It's part of my decor, so I'm just gonna insert some footage and put the cover somewhere on the screen. But it's Scritch, it's hard to say, Scritch from Lindsay Currie. I really love this author, and I was so excited to finally get my hands on this book. So this is another middle grade book, and it follows another girl named Claire in this story, and she's a scientist who doesn't believe in the paranormal, and she ends up having to help her father, who owns like a bus tour, like ghost bus tour. I don't know what it is, but it seems really cool. And I'm really intrigued, and I find it interesting that the main character like isn't interested in the paranormal, and she doesn't believe in this. And obviously something is gonna happen to her. And from the same author, I read The Peculiar Incident on Shady Street a while ago, and I really loved this book. It was weirdly comfortable and very like kind of spooky but also cozy, and you know, it was a very classic like haunted house story, but I really loved the characters, and I just love a good old like classic haunted like mansion house story. So I definitely recommend these two. And then another one on my list is also from Lindsay Currie, because this is her newest book. It actually was released at the beginning of this month, and it's called It Found Us. It Found Us. It's on the screen. And for this one, I actually didn't read a lot of the synopsis because I wanted to kind of discover it blind in a way. But I think this is like the story of a girl who's trying to resolve a case of like a missing teenager boy. And I think there's like something happening in a cemetery or something, and I don't know, I just love the cover. And when I saw it, I was like, I need to read this. I don't care what it's about. I just love the cover. And okay, and then I have two more here that I also picked out because of the cover, especially this one. I really love the like 80s vibe to it. But yeah, so I have this one, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, by Kalynn Bayron. Charity Curtis has the summer job of her dreams, playing the final girl at Camp Mirror Lake. Guests pay to be scared in this full-contact terror game as Charity and her summer crew recreate scenes from a classic slasher film, The Curse of Camp Mirror Lake. The more realistic the fear, the better for business. Just this, I was like, this seems so cool and so interesting and kind of unique. And then I have In Nightfall by Suzanne Young, and yeah, I definitely picked this one up only for the cover. I really love the vibes, and I'm just gonna read the first phrase of the synopsis. In Nightfall, there's only one rule: always be home by dark. That's it. I'm just hooked by this. But I'm pretty sure there's gonna be either vampires or werewolves in this. So yeah, I'm all for it. Very excited for this one. And then the last two on my list are Whispering Pines, that I have right here, and Getaway with Murder. So Whispering Pines is something set also in a very weird, strange small town with very strange and mysterious events happening. The town is called Whispering Pines, which I absolutely love. And again, the cover is amazing. And yeah, I read the synopsis a while ago. I kind of forgot about it, and I just want to dive in without knowing too much. But it was definitely very spooky. I think this is a middle grade book, but it looks very, very spooky and kind of terrifying. So anyway, very excited about this one. And I had to include a very cozy mystery with a very kitsch cover. I think it's not the worst. Like, I have a long list of cozy mysteries I want to read at some point, and some of them are like like very colorful, very kitsch. Yeah, I just love that. And so Getaway with Murder is the first in a cozy series from Diane Kelly, set in a lodge in the Blue Ridge Mountains, where secrets hide behind every hill. And I don't really care what it's about. The setting looks cool and there's a cat on the cover. And I just love to dive into cozy mysteries without any expectations. I assume it's just gonna be a really comfy, quick read under a blanket with a warm tea. Okay, that's gonna be all for this video. I really hope you liked it and that it wasn't too all over the place. It's my very first time doing a video like this, and yeah, it was kind of chaotic to film, and I hope you can find maybe your next read. And yeah, I'm just gonna put everything in the description below. And okay, I'm gonna wish you a very nice, cozy end of your day and a very spooky season. Bye! See you in the next video.